All right, guys, welcome back to another one of these. I hope you all are doing well. If you're new to the channel, if you can't tell, I live in the South, and I've been covering this the Heard trials case stuff ever before the UK. Um, so the reason the name of my channel is Southern Take is because from where I live, we kind of try to cut through the bullshit, and I see, unfortunately, right now in the world, a lot of bullshit. Anyway, so what this series is going to be another basically video where I've gone around because I am following what other people's, like, say, the opinions are. There's so many people that had no clue about this case, this trial. They just heard basically the headlines where she's a Me Tooer, he's a piece of shit. And it's kind of the same thing along the Rittenhouse case. That everybody in the news media was like, "Oh, he shot black people, unarmed black people." You know what I mean? Like, no, they didn't shoot no one black person. Like, I don't know. It's just nuts how the media can spin a story the way they want it to come out, and then when the actual trial happens and people have to produce evidence, it's amazing how people are like, "Well, wait a minute, that's not what happened." So again, I don't give a shit about your politics over here. If I could say one thing about this trial, it seems like everybody from all walks of life. For one, can you believe it's a damn Johnny Depp trial, defamation trial? That's like everybody's like kind of putting all their claws away. Their battering rams are being parked in the driveway. It's like, or not being parked in the driveway. You get what I'm saying, anyway. So I decided to. I'm still checking in, because I know like a lot of people aren't following this. And so the last time I did XQC and Asmongold, I think it's a pretty good video. But they're two huge Twitch streamers. I don't really talk too much about their politics, but I would see them as the guys that are like more on the, say progressive, say left or side. Again, I'm just saying this to give you context of why this time I tried to, if a person's a little bit different, maybe he would have a little bit different view politically. How are they feeling about this trial, right? So Sydney Watson, I know, is a conservative, right? And so I was curious to see, what she was thinking. So she did this video a couple days ago. A man misrepresented the Johnny Depp story, so that's kind of a clue of probably how she views this. She's a pretty significant. See, I always try to do this. If I'm going to do their video, I'm going to sub to them. So, she's got almost 700,000 subs, and she can be funny how she puts her videos together. I don't care, what you believe in. So, but we're going to listen to her video again. If any of these people, by the way, have any issues with me, like it, if anybody has any issues with me covering your stuff, just let me know. I don't think anybody would. It's not like I'm doing this shit all the time. It's literally just because I'm curious to see how opinions are changing, especially when it comes to this. But we're going to listen to her. I listened to most of this already. I'm going to try. I have to do that a little bit because I don't want to like serve you up a bunch of bullshit. But, I listen, she's funny. Okay. I don't care who you are. We're going to listen to what she says about this. And then you can, I think it's amazing. Left, right, middle of the ground. Everybody's like, oh, hold on a minute. This dude isn't the monster that she tried to create him to be. Okay, here we go.
The opportunity where I thought something's got to be done. It's just got to be done. I couldn't take it anymore.
Well, there you have.
Well, by the way, first shout out Sydney. Look, that's the first video. I'm not having to go up here and volume boost actual trial. Whatever she's done, she's fixed the audio. So shout out to her there for sure.
Have it, kids. Here we go. This video is sponsored by Sheath, but this is human news led to of getting away. This is for example, her out a bunch new and improved in the next. Let's go. Now, since my last video, I have come to find out a bunch of information relating to the demon drop, like for example, her ability and long history of getting away with everything. When she was arrested for assault on her ex-partner, she said the arresting officer was homophobic and misogynistic. Turns out that cop is actually a lesbian herself and an activist. Demon Drop allegedly asked police to erase this history when she hit it big in 2011 and when she subsequently started dating Johnny Depp. She even had a case of driving on a suspended license dismissed in 2003. Good times. But these situations alone don't make her a total monster. Maybe a partial monster. A prawnster. It's too early in the video for you to be this demented. It's what she's done to Captain Jack and how she's victimized him and blamed him that makes her more or less the absolute worst. We all knew that both Amber and Captain Jack would be taking the stand in this case, and over the last week or so, Captain Jack has done just that. While I know plenty of you still do not like him as a person and as an actor, you disagree with the totally absurd political statements that he's made in the past, or just overall think he's a weird unit. I don't.
And this is where she's talking about, because he made this very public statement about Donald Trump and saying, like, basically inferred that he should be JFK Kennedy. I mean, good grief, Kennedy. You know what happened to Kennedy? John Kennedy. Yeah, so he implied that should happen and did it in front of a group of people. So of course it's going to set off everybody that supported him. Here we go with another actor putting their foot into politics, that you know what I'm saying. So that's where that's coming from.
Think that those things necessarily or at all discredit his experience as a domestic violence victim. Male victims usually don't speak out or can't speak out, and the fact that he seems prepared to go to hell, my home, and back to prove that he's not an abuser speaks volumes about this situation. I also just want to note that I am looking at this situation through the lens of Johnny as a victim, rather than the ins and outs of the defamation trial and whether or not he'll win and the things, because I'm not a lawyer. I'm now a psychiatrist. But before we get into all of this and you once again board my hell gondola,
She's hilarious, by the way. This commercial is hilarious, but I don't want to get any trouble of like advertising.
That I got through this whole thing without saying the word balls. On May 27, 2016, the Daily Mail posted one of the first articles about the couple, the same day as Johnny's daughter's birthday and 7 days after the death of his mother. On this same day as well, our buddy Amber had a visible bruise on her face and obtained a restraining order against Captain Jack. A day later, photos show her appearing bruiseless, laughing with friends. As you do. In the days leading up to the alleged bruise,
you kind of remind anybody what's going on in court, even down to the damn outfit, like coming out like a Stepford wife. You know what I mean?
A restraining order,
and then like
Captain
it's like the vision of the people that leave the pain clinics that walk in acting like they can't barely move, and then get their prescriptions and coming out like ready for the club. You know what I mean? Like, look, I mean, like, here's baby shirt guy. Okay, this is Josh True. This is Raquel. These are the people that, are her. She needs to keep close because they're going to keep that story she's trying to, perpetuate into the media. Anyway.
Appearing bruiseless.
I'm sorry. I'm just find this funny because Tug makes fun of him wearing baby shirts. Like his shirts are way too small for him. And like looking at this picture, it's like, dude.
Laughing with friends. As you do. In the days leading up to the alleged bruise, staff in the building in which she lived said they saw no marks of any sort on her face. In depositions with these staff, they allege Amber asked them to lie to People magazine about her face, which is...
Did you hear the list thing about Amber Heard said that she had close connections with People magazine and asked if we could help her. She just needed help because of that quote that was put out there was stating that the front desk confirmed that we saw her without a mark on her face after the incident occurred. We, the Eastern Columbia building staff, became aware of the allegations. The allegations had so Alex and I discussed that we saw that we knew she didn't have the mark all week long, and that she now had it on Friday. I said it to both of them. I saw her and she had nothing on her face. So she went to these people and like, listen, I've got friends at People. They're saying that, you said that you didn't see anything on my face, but I said that you probably, could you just do this favor for me? Think about again, the plotting and the planning of being nefarious about this entire situation and trying to set up and stage, like getting your shit together, going to these people and asking them to say something they didn't see. Now again, think if they would have been brought to, if they would have made a public statement, they would now be in court being questioned on that public statement, and that like they could be excoriated for that. Be like, well, this is what you said you saw. Were you lying then? Are you lying now? You know what I mean?
Amber asked them to lie to People magazine about her face, which is pretty but evil. Only a few weeks ago, Demon Drop's lawyer said that because of all of this bruising, she carried a specific concealer palette with her for the entirety of her relationship with Captain Jack. Which is a great story, until that—
And again, that's a boss move to have the person walking down the hallway with the magazine and then panning over to the wall with it on the wall. Like, they work there. Like, this is somebody in this building.
Entirety of her relationship with Captain Jack. Which is a great story, until that brand showed up and confirmed that they didn't even release the product in question until 2017. The pair divorced in 2016. In alleged text messages between Captain Jack and Demon Drop's parents, Demon Drop only got her restraining order because her lawyer said without it, Captain—
And this is another great one she pulled. Look, May 27th of 2016. Okay, this is when she's done this. The lawyer told her, this is her dad, I believe her dad, the lawyer told her that she had to, or she would have no place to live. Okay, again, she had to because she wanted a place to live, because they said that he could kick her out. So what she goes and files a temporary restraining order and accuses him of being basically what they wrote in that one article, an abuser. And then look, he said, this absolute bullshit. Her lawyer asked her for 2 weeks at the downtown place, and I said no, she could stay there as long as she liked. So he's already saying that he spoke to her lawyer and told her she could stay there as long as she wants. So what they're trying to spin here is absolute horseshit.
Jack could kick her out of his penthouse at any time, something that he said that he wouldn't have done.
And look, as I read, why would I force her out in 2 weeks? I ain't no scumbag, dude. My effing wedding ring is still on me. I has not taken it off because I love her. It is coming off now. What a effing knife in the back. I'm so disappointed and so hurt. It's just too much. Later, brother. Feel better. Like, so see, at this point on the 27th, he still hadn't even took off his wedding ring. You think he knew this shit was coming down the pike? You know what I mean? Like, if you're gonna still have your wedding ring on, I think she thought the turd in the bed was the stick that broke the camel's back, and I believe that. But if you go back and read this message, I think there was a chance that he was going to let it blow over, and thought about forgiving her because he hadn't taken his wedding ring off. It said that he still loved her, and now it's coming off.
Anyway, there was also a lot of gushing here with her parents saying how much they love. Anyway,
Yeah, and that's a
there
huge
was
one
also
too. We'll get into that I'm sure they'll get into that with her parents. Was like, please, like, I still love you, man. I don't know how it's going to come back from this, but it's possible. This is again her father. So remember, he's this horrible person that, beats the shit out of their daughter, but they're all in these messages going, man, we really miss you, son. We hope we can work it out. It's like, okay.
A lot of gushing here with her parents saying how much they love their then son-in-law and vice versa. Real gross stuff. Keep that to yourselves. Some of us are uncomfortable with feelings. I love you. Ugh. About a month earlier, in late April 2016, Captain Jack had organized a 30th birthday party for Amber that he was subsequently late to because of a business meeting. Later that evening, after the party, he says she punched him in the face repeatedly while he was reading a book in bed. I suspect she was mad that he was late to her birthday party, because adults get mad about that sort of thing. The following day, April 22nd, the infamous poop.
And remember, it testified in court, and they have all of his messages. And since her side didn't bring it up, I'd say, they don't want it to be known. He's messaged her the entire time. This was a massive meeting for him. He was finding out how much his previous managing team had stolen from him or lost his millions of dollars of his. Because the new team came in, he got a forensic accountant to go through it. This is the meeting he was in. So it was like he said he didn't know about the end of the meeting. He was going to sell his houses. So it's not like he was having, a meeting about whether or not he was going to invent the new name of the next pint of Ben and Jerry's. He was finding out how broke he was. And he's messaging the whole time, letting her know what's going on. But, so that's what happened.
Demon Drop blamed this on the little Yorkie dogs. Amber Heard did a feces in the bed. And if you don't understand this reference, I guess you could say that it's poo bad for you. then you can go and look it up yourselves. Anyway, a few years later, the infamous op-ed was written. In testimony this week, Captain Jack said it effectively cost him his role in Pirates of the Caribbean, a franchise he wanted to give a proper send-off. After being able to run with this narrative for about 4 years, ruining her ex-husband's reputation, his life, his everything.
Well, wait a minute. She did mention the op-ed, so she's correct 4. But, you know, she went into that police station in 2016, so that's 6.
The Daily Mail once again broke audio of Amber admitting to violence and mocking her ex-husband, which I'm sure all of you have heard by now, which we're going to experience again, because Amber's face in court, it was really something else.
And I watched you lie, and then
I didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not deck you. I was hitting you. I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you.
And you know her lawyers are cringing right now because there is absolutely zero audio of him ever saying this. Like, you know, I was hitting you. Yes, I smacked the piss out of you. None of it. All this time. And any audio. Now, they might introduce something in court that I've not heard because there's been, you know, evidence submitted that we have not seen. But all the stuff, all the audio recordings for this whole time that come, like some of it got brought out in the UK trial, like I've not seen any.
I was hitting you.
I gotta tell you guys, she looks like someone feces in her bed. In further audio, Amber also said that her ex-husband would not be believed in court, which is actually something that we heard in court.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge think. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
What did you say in response when Miss Heard said, "Tell the world, Johnny, tell them Johnny Depp, Johnny Depp, a man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence"?
I said yes. I am.
I have nothing further, Your Honor.
The problem to date has.
And I just want to highlight again back here, that's an incredibly average clip. I told you guys, everybody uses his stuff. Everybody uses his incredible averages because they're so well put together. And he's went through and painstakingly put up at the top hers, wrote it all out. The bottom is Depp's box. And built the map. I'm going to go through some of that too. I'm going to highlight this dude as much as I can because again, he was doing this crap 2 years ago and changing a lot of minds back then.
Been that Amber has set the tone and narrative for this entire case and entire situation, despite the evidence that we have and that everybody has contradicting many of her claims. Johnny, however, has been subjected to the age-old trope, guilty until proven innocent, which unfortunately and regrettably is standard procedure when it comes to domestic violence allegations against men. I will note here that it looks like the last week or so of Johnny Depp's testimony did actually capture people's attention. I said in my last video about this case that I had hoped that because of who this situation concerns, more people would sit up and pay attention, and I think that's more or less happened. It also made me chuckle reading a Fox article about how accounts posting in support of Amber.
And again, remember, she's the one that in court, she tried to get a bunch of people on Twitter docs. She tried to get all their information. They accused him of being bots. They accused Johnny Depp of paying for supporters. Remember, this is on their side. We know what projection is. And we see this all throughout this country of people accusing certain people of doing the very thing that they're doing. And so, again, their side's wanted to accuse him of like fake support. It's just, that's the irony of it all.
Are bots, and those posting in support of Captain Jack appear to be authentic. Other articles are popping up discussing the enormous amount of support behind Johnny, in this case, all over social media. Obviously, this makes behind Johnny.
Look, on TikTok, the hashtag Justice for Johnny has nearly 3 billion views. Support for her is much harder to find.
In this case, all over social media. Obviously, this makes me a god who knows the future. I am the Lizard Queen. Something that made me sad going through this testimony was that It seems Johnny understood very early on that there was really nothing that he could do or say to defend himself. He notes that even when he did try to say something, he understood that more hit pieces would be written about him, that Amber, by and large, controlled the narrative.
It was like somebody hit me in the back of the head with a 2x4. And as it said, I had no ability to speak prior to, because even if I had done an interview to try to explain myself, it turned into a hit piece. So my mouth was shut. And this was the opportunity where I thought, something's got to be done. It's just got to be done. I couldn't take it anymore. Eventually, I was sure that it was going to escalate into violence, and oftentimes it did. Miss Heard, in her frustration and in her rage and her anger, she would strike out. She would. It could begin with a slap. It could begin with a shove. It could begin with, throwing a TV remote at my head. It could be throwing a glass of wine in my face. It was a constant. My personal experiences, which I gave to Miss Heard, those things were, those facts were used against me as weapons.
Even after the audio clips were released of Amber admitting.
And then remember, like his PR guy testified in court about how Johnny Depp reputation was before this, and then like he was like, kind of a man in a engulfed in kind of like this mystery, like he was a kind of a mysterious person because he didn't really ever talk about his personal or private life. Think about how much you knew about Johnny Depp before all this happened. I mean, you really didn't know much about the guy. You knew he had a couple kids with that Vanessa woman. Like, I mean, but he stayed out of like the gossip columns. He stayed out of all the public view. So watching him, I think that's another thing that works in his favor and has backfired on her, is that watching him having to talk about his abusive mother and what him and his siblings would do, and watching his dad drive away for the last time and say, I just can't take it anymore, son. Stuff like that. It's like, it's almost kind of gross feeling. I'll speak for myself. You almost feel, it feels gross to feel like that he's managed to keep all this stuff, private and with people that he cares about for almost 60 years. And this case has forced him to try and, defend himself from these allegations. It's forced him to have to bring up all these things that really nobody knew about.
Admitting to being abusive, it didn't seem like anything changed. And to reiterate, and I'm just gonna keep saying this because I think it's important, she has been rewarded with acting opportunities, spoken at events, been the DV darling, if you will. Even now, reading articles about this particular trial, the headlines and the wording that is being used continues to cast doubt on Johnny's legitimacy as a victim, which, as I've discussed in.
And if that, again, think about that. Think about what the public's view has been shifting. All the evidence we've seen presented in court, the audio, all of it. But then you still have these media personalities, these quote, quote, journalists, if I even hate saying that word, these clickbait artists, or they're still out there writing these headlines like they're watching something different. They're trying to shift the narrative, even though you can hear it with your own ears and see it with your own eyes. It's open. I think it's opening a lot of people's eyes to just how manipulative the media can be, and that the goal is to divide and conquer. That's why they pit the left against the right. I mean, that's they want us fighting.
In the past is not uncommon. I know I sound like a broken record, but I get the sense that Johnny taking the stand has given us a pretty unique insight into the experiences of men all over the place, which is also why I think a lot of men are really invested in this case, even if they don't like Johnny as an actor or as a person. And while it is clear that he is.
See, look, I showed you Asmongold. That's probably could not be any further. I would think he'd probably have a lot of disagreements with how she feels about, say, like policies or whatever, right? But like right there, she just said something that he brought up, where he think that a lot of men are showing interest in this case because it's finally highlighting the fact that yes, men are involved in these kind of relationships. You just don't hear about them.
Culpable in some capacity for some not great behavior. Listening to the audio and the testimony, even for me as a female, reminds me of women that I have known throughout my life. Crazy women that I have come into contact with who I know have treated men in this same capacity. In audio,
and I've brought this up before my other videos, me as a woman, I couldn't agree more. And most women right now, if any of you come in and listen to this, write down below. Tell me if I'm wrong. I mean, you might be a person that's been fortunate to not know some women like this, but I guarantee you most women, either they have done it themselves in their stupid, immature, younger years, or they know somebody close to them that has done it, you know what I mean, or family member that has done it. Women know women like this. We do.
Recordings from court, we've heard Demon drop cackling kind of maniacally at Johnny, using a baby voice to mock him and taunt him.
I'm so glad she put this in there too. I've thought about going over this one. And it's that mocking, you know, that like talking to him like he's an idiot. I mean, it's just, you know, they talk about how verbal abuse is a thing. Her side brought that up. Well, I mean, yeah, it happens. And when you're mocking somebody in the middle of an argument, what do you call it?
Maniacally at Johnny, using a baby voice to mock him and taunt him.
What else? What else other thing do you want to add?
Can't talk
You
to when you
fucking
sound
lying
like
piece
Foggy
of shit.
Bear.
What? Oh
Like a
no, I
kid's show.
want to know.
Yeah,
I want to know.
get out your Ubers
I'm
out there.
kind of waiting. You go get it.
Yeah, I'll be in your
Wait, is there no other place for you to run in your 15 other houses to go run? Come on, go be a real married man and go deal with your shit.
See that nasty, that go run to one of your other houses. Go be a man, be a married man. Like, you know, it makes me want to smack the taste out of her mouth. You know what I'm saying? It's like, shut the fuck up, you asshole.
The way that a man does.
This makes me very uncomfortable. We've had considerably more admissions that Johnny Depp does in fact remove himself from fights and situations where violence might erupt. He runs away from Amber when she is getting more and more irate, which you can also hear in a series of audio clips, and is something that we talked about in my last video, how Johnny basically has been conditioned to remove himself from aggressive situations because he grew up in an aggressive household, in an abusive household, with an abusive mother.
And you perpetuate the fight. You perpetuate it when you run away. You start it when it could just be a petty argument, and you make it not a petty argument.
Now, listen, now she's trying to spin this in a way because he tries to get out of there when the argument starts amping up, as now she's trying to frame that as he starts it. He starts the argument because he tries to get out of there whenever it gets heated. You think about where the mashed potato brain you have to make trying to get away, and so you doesn't escalate into something physical that you're the one now escalating the argument. That's nuts.
Argument because you run away, and then it becomes not a petty. You start it when it could just be a petty argument, and you make it not a petty argument because you run away, and then it becomes.
See, it could be a petty argument, but then when you run away, you're the one that escalates it. No, she's the one that gets pissed off because he wants space. So she escalates it. She doesn't respect his boundaries and how he doesn't want to scream and yell. This is a different with a man. Like, this man's in his, like, at this point, in his 50s. You know what I'm saying? He ain't got time for this screaming and yelling and shit.
A fight. Instead of just saying sorry, instead of working it out, instead of facing it, instead of confronting things, you run away at minute 3, and then it's impossible to work it out because you've insulted me. Now I'm mad, and then I have to come to you to go, come out of the bathroom, baby.
Now think about that. Is her now how she's twisted this as, is she viewing him insulting her because he leaves the room? So now that's an insult?
Me, now I'm mad, and then I have to come to you to go, come out of the bathroom, baby, let's work this out, which I can't do because that's annoying to you too. How would you feel if I...
So look, you try to go get away from it. You got a grown ass man in his own house hiding in a fucking bathroom. And what Sydney says here coming up next is, I think, what everybody would agree with.
Ran away from you all the time.
I mean, if your man is hiding in the bathroom, maybe you're not the good guy. Just a thought.
Okay, great. Then let's take our space and let's not do this anymore, because I'm really getting frustrated. And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
I'm sorry.
Okay? So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May I go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave.
Now, see, she's done gotten like crazy town, starting to like get amped up, and so he's trying to leave, and she's gonna pull the woman card of like, you're hurting me because you want to leave and you don't want to stay with me and fight. You don't want to scream it out. You're hurting me. Like, good God. Again, this man is in his 50s.
Okay? Okay?
Stop.
I'm really sick of this argument.
Stop. I'm sorry.
Okay? And I'm really, really, really sick of this argument.
Stop. I'm sorry.
Okay? So let me go, and you go, and I'll speak to you in a couple hours. Okay? Okay?
Stop. Okay.
Why are you saying stop?
Because
May
you're
I
so-
go?
Please, it causes me so much stress when you leave, when you walk away from me with that. It's like you don't understand how much worse you're making this.
I said, I need space. I don't want this conversation anymore right now. I need space. And I will take my space, whether you like it or not. I will take it. And you will take your space. But if you keep halting
I'm not doing anything
this
to you.
and continuing
I'm
with
not
the rhetoric,
continuing it. I'm begging you to stop.
I don't. Okay, stop. I'm stopped. Stop. Now I have to go.
It's actually kind of amazing how many audio clips exist of Johnny getting berated for trying to run away from and or avoid a fight. Listening to them almost feels like emotional voyeurism. I don't know how I feel about that. You feel icky. Another witness, Tara Roberts, who manages Johnny's estate in the Bahamas, once again said that in a situation where Johnny tried to leave, Amber clawed at him and he did nothing in response.
And you mentioned that Miss Heard was viciously trying to pull Mr. Depp back. Can you explain what you mean by that?
It was like clawing, grabbing at his clothes, grabbing his hair, trying to like pull him back, like an angry, like he was leaving and come back. He couldn't leave in the vehicle because the keys had been taken out. So there wasn't a way for Johnny to drive away. The only way was for him to walk away, and it wasn't a pleasant situation of wanting him to not leave, and angry and yelling and just yelling, come back, don't leave, and things like that.
Now, this is not, we just heard the audio. I know, good. She did a great job, Sydney, and whoever editors are. We just heard the audio before of her saying, and when he was trying to get out of there and leave the situation and remove himself from the argument, she turned that into he's hurting her. You're hurting me if you try to leave. So now that this has come up, to the distinct part of this person's testimony, saying that he was again trying to leave, and she's out there grabbing at him and pulling at him and screaming at him not to leave. The keys have been taken. Who do you think, if he's trying to get in, I think probably like some motorized vehicle, like a golf cart or something, trying to leave, do you think he would be the one that would try to do something with the keys? And again, women, I need my women to step up in this shit, okay? How many women do you know that have tried to hide somebody's keys, a man's keys or some shit, so he couldn't leave? Let's be honest about this shit.
At any point, did Mr. Depp hit or touch Miss Heard?
Objection, leading. All right, I'll sustain the objection.
Ms. Roberts, how did Mr. Depp react to Miss Heard viciously grabbing him?
He didn't. He stood there with his arms by his side, and he didn't do anything.
We've also heard accounts that when there was no violence going on, she would pretend there was violence going on. Shocker.
Again, I'm 20 feet away. She's still got Io on the phone. She's got Rocky there. Stop hitting me, Johnny, she's screaming in her best freaked out, upset voice, high pitched. Stop hitting me. Jerry Judge and Sean Fett entered the room. And as they entered the room, and she was quite surprised to see them, she said, "That's the last time you'll ever hit me. That's the last time you'll ever do that to me." And again, I'm a good 20 feet away by the fridge.
Captain Jack also testified that his wife would threaten to take her own life if he...
Oh, I wonder if he knows he brought up she brought up that Umbrella Guys clip. That's cool because he has been doing so much of the coverage. That's cool.
left. I think people often forget how emotionally and psychologically abusive this...
By the way, that's where I hang out during the trial. He broadcast it live. And again, he's probably the only reason why I'm not broadcasting the trial or, doing something to that effect.
Kind of behavior is. And it forces people into situations where they can't leave and often don't leave because they feel responsible for the other party in their relationship. Which again, I'm not here trying to dole out life advice or tell anybody how to live. I'm just like a 20-something-year-old with shrapnel ears. But I will say that these kind of threats are not healthy. If they are present in your relationship, that is probably a good indication that something isn't healthy in your relationship, and you're not responsible. You are not responsible. Well, there you go. I guess that's my psychiatristing done for the day. I really am a psychiatrist. Wow. And honestly, speaking of psychological torment, the internet has been saying that Demon Drop has been copying Johnny's outfits.
Yeah, this is strange. Okay? And remember what her assistant said about how she would literally study, for lack of a better word, victims. Like, study what kind of, like, art they were into or music they liked or how they dressed. And she shifted from, like, trying to do this Marilyn Monroe, like the old 50s style hairdos and dressing to literally start to dress kind of like more grunge style like Depp did. It gets out there.
As a form of mind game playinginess. And I mean, I don't know if this is true or not. I often find things like this to be pretty far-fetched, but I'm adding it because if it is true, then that is not normal behavior.
So many of you have sent me this article, and at first we were kind of a little joking about it. We were kind of like, let's...
Yeah, look, again, like so many people have done so many amazing things with this. I mean, he's got kind of like meme culture on his side, which ain't good for her. They're been amazing at putting clips together and making memes and shit. And I mean, it has got the message out there, and they're not lying.
Let's see what she's wearing today. And we had noticed that if Johnny wore a gray suit the day before, she'd wear a gray suit. Then it got a little bit more specific. Johnny wore a Gucci B, and then Amber wore a Gucci B the very next day.
Isn't that weird? A Gucci B, and then she wore, it's weird.
So I was like, maybe we're on to something here. I wasn't prepared for today. You may remember yesterday is the day that Twitter went nuts over Johnny Depp's ponytail. When she walked into court today with this ponytail on her head, this ponytail that looks like it was brought to us by SpaceX, it's so high, the shock the courtroom felt. Also, not only is she copying Johnny's outfits and looks every single day, but today Johnny Depp finally took the stand. And he testified that the couple's nicknames for each other, which were Steven for Johnny and Slim for Amber, were in reference to Lauren Bacall and Humphrey Bogart. And as one of you said on my live tonight, doesn't this hairstyle from yesterday look an awful lot like this hairstyle that Lauren Bacall once wore?
I swear to God, people like this need an exorcism. As of filming this video, it's worth me adding that a psychologist who was called to the witness stand by Depp's team says that Amber has borderline personality disorder, and a tenet of that is mimicking other people. So I guess then copying your ex's clothes is either a mimic or an evil. Now, over the course of his testimony, Captain Jack has said that he has never in his life struck or hit a woman. He also effectively notes the time that he worked out that Amber might not be the full biscuit.
She was visibly shaken or upset that I had broken her rules of routine. I thought that strange. And then once you notice something like that, then you start to notice other little tidbits and things that come out. And then within a year and a half, she had become another person almost.
I'm surprised it took a year for her to return to her true form. I thought succubuses shed their skin every 3 months. Sometimes it's 6 months if it's extra cold outside. Captain Jack explained that Amber withheld medication from him when he was going through withdrawal, and that the only person in his life that he's actually harmed is himself.
Miss Heard wasn't the only one who had a problem with your drinking, correct?
So if anyone had a problem with my drinking at any time in my life, it was me. The only person that I have ever abused in my life is myself.
An interesting little tidbit too that I discovered is that Amber had used as evidence, I suppose, or posted as well, a clip where Captain Jack is slamming cupboards and kicking cupboards and pouring extra large glasses of wine and being a little bit belligerent. A few YouTubers used this clip in their videos and found that they were hit with a copyright claim. After Captain Jack and Amber divorced, a video surfaced of Depp slamming cabinets and pouring a mega pint of wine. It was speculated that Heard sold this video to TMZ. She denied it. So why is TMZ claiming they own the copyright to that video? Interesting, very interesting. I now would like to know if it's normal behavior for—
Now, again, because remember, it's not like you're making a leap of logic here. It's on her phone. She recorded it. She owned the video. Now TMZ is claiming they own the video. Like, how much of a leap do you need to make here?
For someone to film their husband having a meltdown and then take that footage and then sell it to a tabloid to show that they are in fact a victim. Is this normal behavior? I have questions. Our Demon Seed also allegedly asked her ex-husband to meet up with her a month after filing a restraining order against him. When recounting the interaction, Johnny said, "I don't know what she was after.
Ow.
So I had a knife in my pocket and I just took the knife out and said, 'Here, cut me. It's what you want to do. Ultimately, you've taken everything. You want my blood? Take it. Have my blood. Look, if you're going to take it and you want it, I know you want it. That's all I've got left. Take it.' And if she wasn't going to do it, I would have done it because that's psychologically, emotionally where I was. I was at the end. I was broken." One of the biggest things that stood out to me about all of this is that, like I said, it seems like Johnny will go through so much pain and suffering over and over again to prove that he is not an abuser. And I really believe that there is something to be said for that. I know that this is not isolated. I know that there are tons of men out there who would go to the ends of the earth to clear their name. And I know that there are men out there who would go to the ends of the earth just to have somebody believe them, so they don't feel crazy, so they don't feel like they're making it up, so they don't feel like this is all in their head. And weirdly, on the other side of things, a lot of men who are subject to victimization and abuse either overlook that abuse, they're embarrassed by it, they find it incredibly challenging to talk about, so they bury it, and then it manifests in other ways, whether that's internal or external, and that's incredibly sad. And it's not helpful for the overall functioning of society. It's not helpful for that individual. And it's sure as hell not helpful to the women who are getting away with this. You know, in the sense of like, it's not good to have dementors running around sucking your soul. Whether you are male or female, whether you think that you are the toughest, strongest person out there, victimization is still incredibly damaging. And I think Johnny, of all people, exemplifies this completely. The response over the years to this case for me raises the question about where the empathy is for men. Watching this play out in real time, hearing a person say that they had to be quiet for years and years, lest they be trampled further, reinforces that question. Where is the fairness? Plenty of people have made the point the situation—
And again, it's good that this is being brought up. And like I will say again, women know that this happens.
like these do not help anyone. It makes it harder and harder to believe genuine female victims. It pushes male victims further towards the edge of the cliff, ignores their pain, and places blame on them. It gives female abusers a walk, pointing out that Captain Jack has been victimized and subject to domestic violence does not disregard or discredit that women have also suffered abuse. If anything, all anyone is asking is that men are given the same empathy and understanding that women so often demand for themselves. In my last video, I said that we will never truly know what actually happened in this situation. We will never know the full details of this, and who knows, who's to say, maybe they're both actually garbage people who deserve each other. But I am thankful that this situation, no matter how absurd, no matter the fact that it's concerning two celebrities fighting each other, I am thankful that this is shining a light on male domestic violence perpetrated against men, that we are learning and seeing before our eyes that women can be the perpetrators of violence, and when a woman makes domestic violence allegations, that doesn't always mean that they're true. I don't know how the rest of this case is going to play out, but I do hope that Johnny wins. In the very least, just because he has been absolutely dragged through the mud for a number of years with zero repercussions for his ex-wife, and I do hope that he finds justice from all of this. And as for the male victims who have been left behind, who society has ignored or not believed, I do hope that this situation can give them some sort of hope. And I am looking to the future, expecting that maybe someday we can actually change the tide. Now, on that pleasant note, and before I open the floor to all of you, this is just a reminder to check out Sheath Underwear using the link in the description.
She's so fun. So, okay, so again, this is Sydney Watson. She again, so see, it's like she said that this is shining a light on what men are put through that nobody really talks about. Somebody did like a hashtag men too. And I think that's why a lot of men are like, hey, look, somebody high profile is exposing all this stuff that we just put up with. And if we're exposed to some kind of abuse, we just have to move on, shut our mouths, and the relationship is over, and the women will go out there and accuse us of all kinds of stuff. But if a man does it, they're almost laughed at and mocked like some weak thing. So I was going to try to do a couple of these, but the trial started live streaming 19 minutes ago. Well, I need to wrap this up. I'll probably do another one after the trial is over. Yes, I'll be watching it all day today because I like to do it regardless if it's the Depp trial or not. I used to do it with my mother all the time. I remember the Casey Anthony trial. You watch that, and then the O.J. Simpson, the white blazer, famous thing, car chase, if you call it, not really a chase, but there was cameras everywhere. Yeah, I found this stuff interesting. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I'm going to continue hopefully this kind of like series of how people are viewing this trial that otherwise didn't really know that much about it, and they're learning about it from it getting so much exposure. So with that, guys, we'll see what happens today. It's going to be probably another long day. So wish me luck, and just, like, subscribe, all that shit. And I'll see you on the next one. Have a great day, guys.